If I had been doing my job correctly, this video was going to be uploaded and public on YouTube on Monday, October 7th, and you probably, hopefully, already know that by the time this video is public, I am gonna be in Vegas, baby. It's kind of crazy because it's like Las Vegas. Everyone technically calls it Las Vegas, but for some reason, us hockey fans were so used to saying just Vegas, even though I would say the majority of people outside of this bubble say Las Vegas. Maybe we're the minority, who really knows? But the point is, I'm on vacation, so I'm pre-recording videos. This audio is being recorded on Friday, October 4th in the morning, and what I wanted to do was revisit some of our, I like to call them rainy day topics. Topics that I can just bust out whenever. Whenever I'm going on vacation and I need some content, we gotta go out there with one of these kinds of topics. Because today we're going over another one of these confirmed trade reports. We're talking about a trade that was made a while ago that has since been fully confirmed and now finalized. Today we are talking about a trade which, you could say, maybe contributed a heavy hand to the 2022 Stanley Cup champions. I think everybody remembers this, but the Colorado Avalanche defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2022 Stanley Cup Finals, and one of the trades they had made heading into that playoff run was with the Montreal Canadiens. It was none other than the Artturi Lehkonen trade. Now, speaking about the player first, before we dive into how his trade has been officially confirmed and finalized, Artturi Lehkonen is a monster of a hockey player. Underappreciated, I would say, during his entire time in the Montreal Canadiens system, although towards the end there, he was seen more as a versatile option. A lot of people were starting to recognize his value, and then he got traded. In his last season with the Habs, he had 29 points in 58 games played. He got sent over to Colorado, had 14 points in 20 games in the playoffs, and has not looked back since. Now he is signed on to a contract making $4.5 million a year till the end of 2026-2027, and he's coming off of a 34-point year in 45 games. He also had a point per game in the playoffs in 2024. Not to mention the fact that he had 51 points and 20 goals in 64 games with the Avalanche in 2022-2023. Despite the injuries, Artturi Lehkonen has truly been one of the better middle to top 6 caliber Colorado Avalanche forwards. He just goes and goes and goes. He makes the right play. He scores points. What's there not to like about Artturi Lehkonen, the lightning bolt that he is? But the Montreal Canadiens had him back in 2022, and they sent him away to Colorado. Well, let's go out there and review the trade details 2 years later, because everything is now finalized. We're going over onto the Wayback Machine Archive.org because what they did was they had the cap-friendly page from 2024 stored in their database. It allows us to very easily take a look at the trade details that ensued. Because on March 21st, 2022, the Montreal Canadiens sent Artturi Lehkonen with $1.15 million salary retained to the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for Justin Barron and a 2024 second-round pick. Now, before we dive into the pick, let's talk quickly about Justin Barron. He's in a weird spot this year because his roster spot is definitely not guaranteed, or maybe it is at this point when the video was public on YouTube. I'm recording this in the past, so yeah. But Justin Barron, 22 years old, right-handed defenseman, has a lot to learn before he becomes a full-time Montreal Canadiens guy worth 82 games in a season. He might still have a chance to do some damage longer term, but for now, he is in that developing stage. He was always touted as an offensive defenseman, and last season he had 13 points in 48 games with the Habs. 7 goals, too, so more goals than assists. He's one of these guys that when he's on, he's absolutely on, and he can definitely turn it up in the offensive zone and, best case scenario, be a power play quarterback. Now, it's going to be difficult for him to do that this season. He's not going to overtake Lane Hudson, nor is he going to overtake Mike Matheson, but he's 22, so who knows what the future has in store for him. He's definitely not a bad ad. Maybe unnecessary now that David Reinbacher and Logan Mailloux are both on this team, but there still will be a lot of hope for Barron as the future comes and goes. Let's talk about the pick, though, because the draft pick that the Colorado Avalanche sent over to Montreal ended up becoming 57th overall in the 2024 NHL Draft. Now, this is where we would normally do, oh, this is the prospect the Habs drafted with this pick, and then they got this guy. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. Because in the 2024 draft, the Montreal Canadiens actually didn't use pick number 57. Instead, we had ourselves a trade go down on that same day, which looked like this. The Montreal Canadiens made a trade with the LA Kings, sending the Winnipeg 26th overall pick that the Habs acquired in the Sean Monahan trade, the 57th overall pick that the Habs acquired in the Artturi Lehkonen trade, and then the 198th overall pick, that in which was Montreal's to begin with. So Montreal sent their own 7th round pick, the first from the Monahan trade, and the second from the Lehkonen trade, all in exchange for LA's first-round pick, 21st overall, in the 2024 draft. So the Habs essentially moved up 5 spots from Winnipeg's 26th overall pick into LA's 21st overall pick, and it cost them a 2nd and a 7th to do so. Pretty steep price to pay to move up only 5 spots in my opinion. But the Montreal Canadiens have stacked up so many picks and prospects over the years that sending away a 2nd and a 7th honestly is not too bad, especially when you consider that that 2nd round pick was acquired with Justin Barron for Artturi Lehkonen, whom the Avalanche had to re-sign. It makes a lot more sense for Montreal. The Habs essentially sent away Artturi Lehkonen, Sean Monahan, and a 7th round pick for Justin Barron and the LA Kings 21st overall pick. That's really how it goes down. 2 roster players that were on expiring deals plus a 7th round pick for Justin Barron, who is a first round caliber prospect, and the 21st overall pick. That in which the Montreal Canadiens did use in the 2024 NHL Entry Draft, and with this pick, they selected a guy that I think a lot of Habs fans are a big fan of nowadays. It's Michael Hage. Yeah. 21st overall, the LA Kings first round pick was sent to Montreal and the Habs drafted Hage, who, at the time of the NHL draft, was the 10th ranked North American skater by NHL Central Scouting. That's pretty good. Imagine turning 2 expiring players and a 7th into Justin Barron and Michael Hage. That's literally what the Habs did. It took them 2 years to get this done, and 3 separate trades. The Winnipeg Monahan trade, the Lehkonen Colorado trade, and then the first round pick moving up trade with the LA Kings. The Habs were busy, and they end up with this as the result. Michael Hage is a guy that I think a lot of Canadiens fans are starting to do a little bit of that shiny new toy syndrome with. He's a really strong player, two-way guy, 6'1", 190, big dude at 19 years old playing for the Michigan Wolverines this season, and he was a monster with the Chicago Steel last year in the USHL, getting 75 points in 54 games. He is a dynamic rush attacker, combining inside drives, flashy dekes, and give-and-go playmaking. A crossover burst gets defenders' feet moving, then he looks for vulnerabilities. He fakes wide, cuts in, and accelerates to the net. He has that really nice blend of two-way versatility and offensive capability. I see a poor man's Bo Horvat, a poor man's Robert Thomas in Michael Hage, and if he's able to exhibit all of this on the third line long-term, knocking out Owen Beck and Philip Machar, then I think there's a really good chance the Habs have a stacked forward core heading into the next few years. Hage honestly could be a pretty good second-line center if he develops the right way. But in Montreal, it's going to be tough to overtake Nick Suzuki and Kirby Dach, so we can leave Hage penciled in the third-line spot for now and have Owen Beck as an elite fourth-line guy. Think Jake Evans, but maybe a bit better. So at the end of the day, the Montreal Canadiens finalized the Artturi Lehkonen trade with the 2024 draft. It took them 3 trades to actually get everything working out here, but essentially the Habs sent away Monahan, Lehkonen, and a 7th for Justin Barron and Michael Hage. How do you feel about these acquisitions, and how do you feel about that Artturi Lehkonen trade isolated by itself a few years after it was done? Lehkonen for Barron and a second-round pick. What are your thoughts on the entire trade tree here that we are illuminating, and what are your thoughts on how these players are going to continue to perform as their careers go on? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you're a Canadiens, Avalanche, or a Winnipeg Jets fan. I guess you guys should be included in this conversation, but what are your thoughts about these guys and how they have performed? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.